Dustin's words made Lu Jun frown deeply. He was well aware that General Lewis was an unscrupulous man, someone who would kill even his own personal guards without hesitation, let alone a stranger. If the situation turned unfavorable, Lu Jun had no doubt that Lewis would abandon him and flee without a second thought. If he had a choice, he would never risk his life as a stepping stone for Lewis. But now, there was no turning back. The moment his undercover identity was exposed, and he helped General Lewis escape, he had become a public enemy of West Lacosia. His name was now listed on the Red Wanted notice. Tonight was his best chance to escape. If he missed it, finding another way out would be as difficult as reaching the heavens. The only path left for him was to kill his enemies and board the ship to safety. Kid! Enough talk, let me see what you've got. After weighing his options, Lu Jun gritted his teeth and finally made his move. In a flash, his figure blurred into a shadow as he lunged forward. The cold gleam of his blade flickered like a shooting star, slashing straight toward Dustin's neck. Dustin remained calm, unfazed. Just as the blade was about to touch his skin, he tilted his body slightly, dodging the lethal strike with the ease of a drifting willow leaf. At the same time, his right fist clenched tightly and shot forward like a cannonball, aiming directly at Lu Jun's chest. Lu Jun reacted quickly, bringing his sword across his body to block the attack. Clang! A deafening metallic impact rang out as Dustin's fist met the blade, sending sparks flying. The immense force numbed Lu Jun's arm, forcing him to stagger several steps backward. He quickly twisted his body and slashed downward in a powerful arc, his blade whistling through the air. Dustin lightly tapped his toes against the ground and floated back a meter, once again avoiding the attack with ease. Swish! Lu Jun's sword barely missed him and instead struck a small boat nearby. The next second, the boat split in half, slowly sinking into the seawater. Even after missing his target, Lu Jun didn't hesitate. He continued his fierce assault. His sword danced in a relentless flurry, each strike carrying the force to split mountains and shatter stone. The sharp whistling of his attacks filled the air, and the gleaming blade seemed capable of shredding everything in its path. But Dustin remained composed, his movements light and graceful, like a leaf caught in the wind. He effortlessly avoided each strike, as if he were simply drifting along with the currents. His sharp gaze saw through Lu Jun's every move, predicting his attacks with pinpoint accuracy. It was as if he were toying with him, like a cat playing with a mouse. Frustration crept into Lu Jun's expression. Unable to land a single hit, his attacks grew wilder and more desperate. He abandoned all defense, focusing solely on launching one furious strike after another. Yet, he still couldn't even touch a strand of Dustin's hair. Meanwhile, the so-called support from General Lewis never came. The man merely stood to the side, watching with a heavy expression, showing no intention of stepping in. This kid is strange, Lewis muttered to himself. The young man before him was barely in his early 20s, yet he was handling Lu Jun, a seasoned martial arts master, with effortless ease. More importantly, Lewis couldn't gauge Dustin's true strength at all. Huff! Huff! After a relentless flurry of attacks, Lu Jun was already panting heavily. Only now did he realize how difficult it was to fight a true expert. Even after exhausting himself, he hadn't even come close to landing a hit. Why'd you stop? Keep going. Dustin stood with his hands behind his back, his demeanor calm and composed, in stark contrast to the exhausted Lu Jun. With his strength, taking Lu Jun down would be effortless, but he wasn't in a rush. For one, he wanted to pressure Lewis. More importantly, he wanted to use Lu Jun as bait, to lure out the real mastermind behind the scenes. The Pantheon gods had been operating in West Lacosia for years. There was no way Lu Jun was acting alone. He was just a pawn. There had to be a more formidable figure pulling the strings from the shadows, and Dustin's goal was to draw that person out and eliminate them in one strike. Kid! You're forcing me to do this! Lu Jun's face twisted with rage. He reached into his waistband and pulled out a vial of enhancement serum, downing it in one gulp. The serum was incredibly valuable, something he had spent years acquiring. It was his trump card, a desperate measure to save his own life. Once ingested, it would temporarily double his strength, making him nearly unstoppable. But the price was steep. If he couldn't defeat his opponent before the serum wore off, The resulting backlash would surely lead to his death. It was a last resort. And now, with no other options, he had no choice but to bet everything on one final, desperate struggle.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to